So what I have here is these classical locks that I just taken out. I want to show you the mechanism first before I show you how I took it out. So you could see here there's the lock cylinder. These cylinders have a little bulge to it where they hammer it in and it fits snugly. So you have to take that out. I'll show you how to do that. Also, you'll notice that this hole here is a very small 1/2 inch hole. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that, and let's get started. Alright, so what I got here is a classic doorknob, and I want to show you how to take this off because it's actually not all that intuitive. So these doorknobs screw right into the door itself via 2 screws on each side, one on this side and one on the other side. And you can see this type of lock is actually kind of interesting because it moves this way versus your typical lock on the doorknob itself. So let me go ahead and show you. Now the tools I'll be using, utility knife, and the reason why is when you take off these old doorknobs, you really want to score the paint. Otherwise, when you take it out, it'll rip beyond the layer above where the doorknob is or below. So you really want to score it, otherwise you'll rip a lot of paint off of the door itself. You'll want a longer screwdriver because that's what it takes to pull this lock mechanism embedded in the door out. And I'll show you that a little bit later. Have a channel lock so that you could actually pull this out, though I'll be using the screwdriver for that. Keep that in mind. Now the first thing I'm going to do is really unscrew these screws here. So I'm not going to show you that, I'll speed it up. So I'm going to start using the utility knife. I'm going to score the edges here so I don't peel off more paint, and doing it also on the doorknob. Now when you're scoring around the edges, be really careful. You don't want to slip and score, off the line. So you really want to use 2 hands, brace yourself so that you don't slip the hand. You'll be surprised actually that happens more often than you think. Alright, so remove the screws, 2 screws up at the top, the 2 screws here, and also 2 screws in the back on the other side. And you'll notice the doorknob is still stuck on. And the reason why is the way these doorknobs work is there's an extra screw here on the side, which is sort of like a thumb screw. And if I show you the removal here, you have to loosen it up. And once you loosen it up, now you could twist it off. Now it's about twisting it tight. So I'm going to twist it off now. So when I'm loosening it, it actually spreads out both sides of the lock. And you can see I'm twisting it off now. So this side screw really just pins and tightens the doorknob itself to the inner mechanism. So once I've loosened this, and I've turned the entire doorknob out, I could pull out the other side now. So even when I pull out the other side, these things are stuck, and I'll just pluck it out. But you can see how this works here. There's just simple threads here. And so you'll notice there is just a simple 1/2 inch hole on this side. And this is what I mean here by scoring the paint and edges, is when I pop this off, it doesn't peel past this round area, where the stuck paint is. So you'll notice how small the hole is. And so I'll be replacing it with a more modern lock, and I'll be drilling a 2 1/8 inch hole, which is the hole for the modern locks, right through it. But keep in mind, I still have to remove this mechanism, and I'll show you how to do that. And on this side, same thing, just plucking out. And because I scored the paint on the edges, it didn't rip past the circle. And this is the tip of the day here. So you'll notice on this side, there's an inner mechanism. And let me just zoom in here. So you notice on this side there's an inner mechanism, and I have to pull this entire thing out. Make sure that the screws are out on this side, and also you'll notice the hole there. So what I'm going to do is take one of the thicker screwdrivers, just thread it through the hole, you know, the entire thing like this. So you'll see now it's threaded, and I'm just going to pull it out. So normally, if I didn't have the camera in the way, I would put my body against it and pull it out. But because the camera's in the way, I'm simply going to take my two hands and sort of force it out. You can see it's nudged out a little bit. And it pops out just like that. So you'll notice I didn't score it well enough, so the paint sort of came out this side. So I'll have to patch that a little bit. But that's why it's important to score it. So once I have this taken out, take my channel lock. So take my channel lock, you know, grip it tight, pull it out. And it's actually kind of rough, you know, trying to pull this out here. So because there is a fat end, what they do is they would hammer it in and get it to fit. You could see I messed up a little bit of the paint because I actually scored it in the middle. I didn't score it right there. I should have just scored it right there. So that's just to re-emphasize how to score it properly. But that's how you remove these old locks and just putting the new locks in.